Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Unscripted. I'm here today with Melinda. Melinda, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. So you are with New Mexico State University, one of our customers. You've been experiencing a lot of the technology that we've been releasing, but you're also head of VR, right? So I'm really curious about your role, and because our audience is pretty wide, but let's start with talking about your role, who you are, what you're focused on, and we'll talk about South by Southwest as well. But let's start there.
Yeah, so I started off as a K-12 teacher. I taught middle school, first in person, and then online. Pre-COVID, pre-pandemic, I started teaching online and saw the connections people could make. I went back and got my master's from New Mexico State University and got to see what they were doing and kind of how they were leading the way, and decided to stay there afterwards. Where I used VR in one of my classes.
Yeah.
And so when I started working with them, I was like, hey, I think I could really take this and we could do a lot with it. So I've been there for 5 years now. And we have over 22 courses using some type of VR.
Oh, wow. So are these art classes? I did a little bit of research on some of the classes that you're already using it for, but I saw, was it HVAC, right?
So we do have some engineering courses. We were one of the first campuses to have a digital twin. That's how it all started.
Yeah.
Andrew Cedillo, Robbie Grant had this idea, and they worked with a company and partnered with another company to build a digital twin that our students that weren't on campus could walk through. Once we started there, criminal justice was actually our first case use.
Interesting.
They had a crime scene on campus, but they didn't have a way to really connect that with our global students. And so they created a crime scene in VR where they could learn how to process all the evidence and through it all. So we're using VR in kind of a different way. We've got over 400 headsets and 22 classes that now use some type of immersive learning, but it really all started with criminal justice.
That's interesting. So I watched some of the videos that talked about digital twin on the campus. And I'm like, this is great. Like before you go to college, you decide to go to New Mexico State University, you can actually walk the campus grounds.
And see your dorm room and actually see what it will look like if you were there, more than just like a sketch map, but actually interact with the faucets and everything too.
Now, how much time did that take? Like, I'm just thinking like how you map this all out, and obviously you probably had some help doing it. Walk through that process.
We did have some help doing it. Robbie actually went through and took pictures of everything.
Okay.
And then they sent those pictures out, and the company processed it and made it a digital twin for us. Our ultimate goal is to have students eventually creating a digital world. We're not quite there yet, but I think we're going to get there really soon.
See, I was on the assumption someone came with a 3D camera like Google does with Google Maps and like walked around the campus and figured it out. So this is 2D photographs.
Right. These are from an iPhone because they do have a LiDAR. We do now have a LiDAR scanner that we're using to do like museums and stuff that we're starting to process. But the original ones came from a 2D pictures.
Wow. So, okay, that's an interesting. I've actually not heard of anyone doing a digital twin campus before. I heard about digital twinning like maybe 3 years ago when VR started getting hot again, because I feel like we've gone through these different phases of VR. But I haven't really heard of anyone do it. So that's really great that I was watching the video. I'm like, this is great. I mean, like my kids, I don't know, by then they got a couple more years, but when they go to college, I hope everyone has that by then. I
think it's a really great tool that everyone should have, because some people, you want to look at a university before you travel to it. Like I talked to someone this morning and they're like, oh, my son is going to this college. We've never been there yet. And I'm like, why? Why would you do that? You know? Just because it's such a personal space. So be able to, before you go visit it, to walk through it and kind of see it, get the feel. Like for us, we have a horseshoe loop. It's really part of who we are. Yeah. And kind of see how the buildings are. Some colleges have major roads that go through their campus. Yeah. We're not one of those. So be able to compare, do you want the big city life? Do you want it to be all close-knit and do it in a digital world? I think is terrific. That's great.
So what made criminal justice, what made them go down this path as the first ones?
I have to give it to the instructors. They are so innovative. And it truly was that they started teaching some of the global classes, our online classes, and they're like, I don't want my students online not to have the same experience.
Yeah.
So they're like, we have this crime scene. It's at the bottom of like one of our buildings. It's a little scary to go down there, and it truly does feel like a crime scene going on. And she was like, I want my online students to have that same immersive experience.
Yeah.
But a lot of what we do for other classes now are using soft skills, practicing job interviews, talking to someone like this.
Yeah.
We even have student athletes using it before game day interviews, because we are a D1 school. We get on ESPN. We want our student athletes to sound like they know what they're doing because they're amazing.
Yeah.
Like all of our students. So we're practicing those soft skills. So a lot of what we're doing with VR is soft skills.
That's incredible. That's great. Like I'm gonna have to go back and check out the crim justice classes now because that just sounds interesting. But I would imagine there's a lot of programming that happens. Like if you're trying to build a crime scene in VR for students to go through, like are the professors like building this content or who's building it all?
So we have a company that's building it for it, but they work with the instructors as subject matter experts because we want it to feel authentic. You know, when you're in VR, the first couple of times, it has to be a good experience or people aren't willing to put on the headset again. Yeah. So when I talk to people, I'm like, if your product is an ease of use, if I don't know how to use it when I get in there and you have to teach me, I can't do that for a student along the way.
Yeah.
So we work with our instructors, our subject matter experts of what's the best fit, what works. And then we want a product that has that ease of use like in it because we ship out most of our headsets. So we just this year got a VR lab on campus, which is so nice because people come in. It's so much easier to tell them like, hey, you need to adjust this or the volume.
Yeah.
But when we're shipping out 400 headsets or more a semester, we have to be able to describe all that in a way when the student puts it on at home, they're good to go.
Yeah.
They have no learning curve. Because we have some non-traditional students that this is their first experience with that type of technology.
I can see that. So I have 2 MetaQuests at home. I haven't seen them since the day I bought them home because my kids have stolen them. And then they fit it and then they get dirty and all this stuff. And so I'm like, okay, fine, I'll just get my own. I haven't gone down the path yet. I seem to keep using and trying other people's headsets. So you have 400. How do you manage a fleet like that? So they keep it for the semester, then they return it, right? You recycle parts and stuff like that if you need to.
Everything and re-clean them off both physically and digitally.
Wow.
So for us, we're a university, so we don't have the same issues as a K-12 does, right? Of security and everything.
Right.
So we let the students download apps, explore. We want them playing in it. We always suggest them to do a paid app because you're going to get the headset back, but they have. This semester, we found a couple apps were very popular that they were paying for because we do get a notification. But they really get to be there for the semester.
Yeah.
And that's been huge. But then when we get them back, we use a management system that we digitally clean it off. And then we have some great students and workers in our instructional media service that physically wipe them all off. And sometimes we only have a week to switch between semesters because we do mini semesters. We do 16 weeks like most traditional.
Okay.
But we also do a couple of 8-week classes. So we get them back and we're literally shipping them out the next day.
Oh, wow. Wow. So like any issues with repair? I mean, I'm sure you have extras or...
We actually have no available extras. They are all checked out right now.
Wow.
We've been really fortunate. Out of all the ones we've shipped over the past 4 years, only 4 of them have not been returned in working condition.
That's pretty amazing given that I have 2 that have been broken already and I've had to repair. Of course, younger kids, so that could be the other reason too. But that's actually pretty impressive.
I think the students that are using it are really respectful with the technology, knowing that not every university is doing this, that they're not getting charged for it. So far they've been really great about like wanting to return it and get it ready. There's been a couple of classes that they've taken that they'll end up using VR headsets again. So I think they know that's coming.
Yeah.
This semester was the first semester because we had students in multiple programs using VR. We only had to give out 1 headset. So we had a CJ student also taking a Spanish class. Which we had overlap. And we were pretty excited that we're starting to see the same student have multiple classes using this.
That's great. I mean, yes, I did think about learning, but I didn't realize you're actually taking it and you're applying it across multiple classes, which is fantastic. I know you're experimenting with MX Inc., right? So talk about like what you're trying to do because I have one. I've tried it out in the 5 minutes that I was able to actually use my MetaQuest. And I have the MX Inc. And it's one of the first things you don't realize is you're drawing. And I know it sounds maybe simple to someone who's used VR, but I'm sitting and I'm like, or standing and I'm drawing and I'm like, I can go around this drawing. I can literally turn around and see the back of it. And it's mind-blowing when you think of the possibilities for just art in general, right?
I think the big thing about headsets and editing technology, people need to experience it firsthand.
Yeah.
Like when you tell someone like, oh, you can do this, they don't quite see it. And then they're in there and they're like, wow.
Yeah.
We're really fortunate. We're doing a pilot program where we're doing actual research studies and everything and student feedback because the MX ink pen is so natural. We're used to holding pens compared to controllers.
Yeah.
So we've learned that our non-traditional students prefer the MX ink pen right away. They want it and they get used to it. So far, it's been able to integrate in all the apps that we use.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been nice. But we did create a short course, Andrew Cedillo and I, how do you get it connected to your headset if it is not? We connected for our students, but some are using their own personal headset, but they didn't have the pin. How best practices. Here's some other apps that you can try out with it just to get them using it. So we've done a free short course that we're offering to everybody to kind of get a more integrated, that micro-credential, get a digital badge from it and everything. And the students like that because they can put it on their LinkedIn. Other people outside the university like it because they see what micro-credential is about. Sometimes you don't need a full class. You need a short, condensed version and see what that's about.
I think one of the things that was surprising to me with the pen, I always felt like, well, what is it going to be like writing in the air? It's not going to have the same tactile feel as you writing on paper or writing in a book. But you kind of cross that bridge really quickly. It's just amazing, like how you're like, all right, it's okay to do this, and now you actually have more freedom and more. You have an infinite canvas, right?
You really do. You can do it, and you can still put it down on a table and write that way if you're used to it.
I haven't even thought about that. Yeah.
I'll write out it, and drawing in the sky was kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
So I'll just draw it out on the table that I'm using it on. And that helps. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. That's great that you're experimenting with that. So you're here at South by Southwest as we are. I know you're doing things with Meta as well. Where's this going to go? I feel like VR had this moment where it's cool, but then we had different versions of it out and no one was trying it. It was too difficult. And some still feel like the physical glasses is still a challenge, right? So where do you feel like this is going?
I think obviously wearables are a hot topic.
Yeah, I see you. You got the Meta glasses, right?
It's nice to walk around, just take pictures and everything like that. But I think the VR and the wearables can exist together. It's not one or the other. They're very different use cases. Headsets are getting lighter. They're getting more where people are willing to try them on. Glasses are easy. People are used to seeing them. You can walk around with them.
Yeah.
And it's clear prospect right through them. VR, it sometimes takes somebody a second to put it on.
Right.
So I think what's coming next with VR, I think the headsets are going to get lighter and closer to the glasses world. We're already seeing it where, the displays have a pop-up in there. So we're getting closer where people could have. But I really want to say, I think there's skill-based, the practice in VR and the wearables. I think you could do where you maybe start in VR to learn the skill and then maybe have coaching through the wearables. I think they're connected. And I think I'm excited where the technology is going. Anything that's lighter that you can put on your face, the more people are willing to adapt, is great. But VR is such a great use case because of the fact that we were not worried about consumables. So it's kind of it levels the playing field.
Yeah.
Students that are on the other side of the country can see what it's like to be in Austin, Texas.
That's true.
And so it really levels the playing field at a cost that's less in going places or being there. Or we use VR when something's dangerous. We're still not going to put on the glasses to learn about something like that. So it's for me, it's both the best of both worlds.
I feel like between VR and the wearables, I feel like they're completely different use cases, but so related in so many different ways. But the one thing that comes up to me, and the reason I haven't gone down the Meta glasses path, is I feel like people are going to be thinking that I'm recording them, or since the privacy is a big issue, right? So how do you think about that, and how do we balance that out?
I think we have to be really careful and mindful of that. I think especially as companies start, we partner a lot at NMSU with companies, and they want to use wearables, but then where's that information going? I think whoever's creating them, that's important. We all know in this week, that's made the news. I think having the light on when you're recording is really important.
Yeah.
So the people around know what's going on, because they might not want to be recorded, but we do live in a digital world where people are.
The phones are there already.
Phones are doing it already.
Yeah.
So it's a different way, but people can record where you're sitting at a restaurant, their whole meal as they eat it, and you're in the background. That's not new. That's something that's been going on.
The big difference though is if I'm recording you, my phone's in your face, right? That's how you see everyone who's taking shots of something bad happening or something good happening. They've all got their phones doing that. But with the glasses, you're just looking normally. And if you don't, I can see them, but if some people if you're 5 feet away, we're probably not going to notice them on there.
Right. They have to to pay attention to the lights on or not and everything. I think it's going to change. I think it's going to change how we view privacy in general.
I think for Ray-Ban as well as for these are Meta glasses, right?
Yeah.
So they're doing it the right way. They're putting all the security pieces in place, the lights that come on so you're recording, like a camera, right? but then there's going to be all these knockoff brands that are already out there that are going to be like espionage mode type things that they hide the cameras in. And that's what people are scared. That's what I'm actually kind of frankly scared of.
No, that's nerve-wracking, right? Like if we have a standard that we go by, and I think that's where policy comes in and how people use it. And hopefully the people that are making the decisions are the right people making it.
Yeah.
Who knows for sure?
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, definitely a lot to think about there. So if someone was getting into this space, building a training course at work or wherever, how do you get into this? Because you guys have you're deep in this now at this point, right? And there are many that haven't even started it. They're like, maybe they have one headset that they're throwing around. How do you get the ambassadorship for it, the executives or the executive staff to say, okay, we're going to go in this because of X, Y, and Z? How do you kind of get into that mode where you're going to embrace it?
I think definitely you don't want any technology that you have to become a paperweight nobody's using, right? If your headset just sitting there, or wearables or anything else. So you have to find those people willing to realize technology is not going to be perfect. It's going to come with some growing pains. So find those people willing to advocate. That's where criminal justice was a great mix. Those instructors, Ida and Maria, and in hotel management, we have Betsy. Oh. They were willing to put up with the pain when we were only at 25 headsets and trying to figure out what that looks like. And now we've been able to scale to over 400, but it was that work put in at the beginning. So I think to know it's not going to be perfect at first. Yeah. It's going to take some work. I think for corporations, we partner a lot with corporations that are doing stuff. Okay. Because we've gone through those growing pains so they don't have to. Sure. So they can come to us and be like, hey, we want this type of training. Can you guys help us? And, NMSU, we do that. Andrew is all over that, all over. We want to take the tech being an issue out of the hands of people. So till we get there, if you're just starting out, find those people that are willing to put up with it, willing to suggest what to make it better. Because if you do it and you don't get any feedback, you're not going to improve. Right. So it has to be a trust relationship. And that's what I think we've done really well at NMSU. We've partnered with great people, great instructors, and we've changed it every semester and trying to make it better. So it definitely sounds like experimenting is a key part of this, right? You have to kind of experiment with it, build a use case, the business case for it ultimately, and then just try it and start small, prove that it works. It's kind of like anything, right? It's like really like your first video bar or your first, experience center. You build it, you model it, you get the feedback, and then you kind of go. But congrats. I think you guys have done a phenomenal job with this, and wish you obviously nothing but further success in this. And I'm sure it's going to go from 400 to thousands of headsets at some point, right? That's our goal. Is we want to keep leading the way and definitely being the innovator. We've partnered with great companies, like with Logitech, We've worked on our soft skills with a company that we love. Like those relationships, even though we're using technology where people are definitely in the fear of where AI can take over, it all comes down to those relationships and those partnerships. Yeah. And that's how we've been able to scale. Really proud of. Awesome. Well, thank you for stopping by and telling us your story. And obviously you're a great customer, but we look forward to working a lot with you more in the future. Enjoy the rest of South by Southwest. Thank you. Thanks so much. I mean, it's still just getting started, right? So much is going on. I know. Some people seem to have a great map and stuff, and it seems like a fun place to get to meet new people and get those connections. I'm hearing that you were supposed to do your schedule ahead of time and not just show up. Unfortunately, have not followed that advice. I did not follow that advice either. Yeah. Normally, I am a planner, but I was like, I don't even know what I'm getting into, but I'm excited to kind of go out and venture out now. So thanks for having me. Oh, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And that's it, folks. That's another episode of Unscripted. See you all next time. Thank you. Thank you.